Hey friend, Graham here from recordingrevolution.com. Got a cool video for you today. If you're having trouble making your vocals pop in the mix, I want to show you my step-by-step process. There's a few different things you can do. I'm doing 3 things in this particular video. Any one of these 3 or a combination of all 3 will help you get your vocal to pop, to cut through in a dense mix, no matter the genre. We're always fighting for getting that clarity on the vocal and making sure it doesn't get buried or lost. So here is a section of the mix I'm working on, and the vocal is got a couple of effects on it, some reverb and stuff, but that's about it, and it's getting a little buried in the mix.
You, summertime fine, but you've been acting cold in the wintertime. 2 things that I can't quite align, but you're playing with my heart like it ain't mine. You have taken my mind, everything I own.
And here it is after I've applied my tricks and processing.
You, summertime fine, but you've been acting cold in the wintertime. 2 things that I can't quite align, but you're playing with my heart like it ain't mine. You have taken my mind.
Much better, right? Clearer, more upfront. I can hear every word. What a real simple thing. I mean, like my mom, when she listens to music, she just wants to hear every word of the lyrics. That's all she cares about. So a lot's happening here. Let me show you what happened under the hood. It started with some EQ on the actual vocal itself. And so I've got a real simple EQ curve of 3 moves. I'm doing a high pass filter where I've rolled off a lot of low end, everything below 155. I've done a little dip at around 250 hertz, which I'm taking out some of that chest voice. It's kind of muffly and woofly. Woofly? Is that even a word? I just made it up. And then a little bit of a bump at around 9K, 8.5K, that's opening up some of the vocals. So if I only add this EQ, you can hear what this is doing from the raw vocal in solo mode.
You, summertime fine, but you've been acting cold like the wintertime. 2 things that I can't quite align, but you're playing with my heart like it ain't mine. You have taken my mind, everything I own, I'll leave it behind.
Right, a lot more clear and upfront, a little more air and breathiness. And you notice it's thinner, and it's thinner than I might like if it was solo by itself, but in the mix with a fat bass, it doesn't sound too thin. It actually sits really nicely. So I start with that little EQ where you're really rolling out the lows that don't need to be there, which opens it up, and then giving it a little bit of a bump in the upper mids, anywhere between 6K and on. You'll probably find some sweet spot. Again, nothing extreme here. This one boost is, how much is it? 4 dB and then 2 cuts, okay? Then you follow it with some double stacked compression. So I've got a compressor here set to pretty neutral settings. I mean, pretty slow attack, medium release, and I'm looking at a little bit of gain reduction here.
You, summertime fine, but you've been acting cold like the wintertime. 2 things that I can't quite align.
It's a real gentle setting with that medium or slow attack, medium release, and you set the threshold, so it's just taking the loudest parts of his vocal down about 3 dB at the most. And then you bring the volume back up until you're level matched output and input.
You, summertime fine, but you've been acting cold like the wintertime. 2 things that I can't quite align.
Right? Then you just copy that compressor. So you literally copy right below the compressor. So now there's a second compressor with the exact same settings, compressing the already compressed track. And you make sure that that's looking good and look for about 3 dB of gain reduction on that.
You, summertime fine, but you've been acting cold like the wintertime. 2 things that I can't quite align.
Right? So if I just take away the 2 compressors, here's what they sound like.
You, summertime fine, but you've been acting cold like the wintertime. 2 things that I can't quite align, but you're playing with my heart like it ain't mine. You have taken my mind.
Hear how he comes more forward the moment I engage both of those compressors? It gives you a little bit more average volume, but it's not really more peak volume. It's more average volume, more excitement, every word's being heard. So much better already. The only other thing that will take it a third and final level is a little parallel processing trick called the vocal air trick. And I do this a lot when the vocal is still not cutting through enough. And all you do is you take a send on your lead vocal and you send a copy of it, pre-fader. So check that box if you're a Pro Tools user. Pre-fader send to a second track. I call this one Vox Air. And so in essence, all you're getting is just a copy of the vocal on this additional track.
You a summertime fine, but you've been acting cold like the wintertime.
I've got them a little quieter here. I've got the fader pulled down, but it's just a copy of the vocal. And then what you do is you go a little extreme with an EQ. You thin it out even more, right? So I'll pull this up so you can hear it. You thin it out even more, and then you do a big shelf boost so it's super crispy.
You a summertime fine.
Ugh, super crispy, but you really accentuate those high ends and the top end stuff. Follow that up with some compression to really slam it. So, well, you're not squashing it because it's a slow attack compression, but it brings up the energy in it.
You a summertime fine, but you've been acting cold like the wintertime.
So I started with a preset really for the toms, actually called Toms Tight, but I like the slow attack, medium release, and it's pretty aggressive, 5-to-1 ratio. So just kind of creating that urgency in that vocal. So you got the really crispy vocal that's in parallel, and then you just blend that into taste. I had it around -16, and what you can do is I'm going to turn this track on and off. So I'll start with it off.
You a summertime fine, but you've been acting cold like the wintertime. Two things that I can't quite align, but you're playing with my heart like it ain't mine. You have taken my mind, everything I own, I'll leave it behind.
Right, nice and clear. So now in the mix, it really is coming together.
You a summertime fine, but you've been acting cold like the wintertime. Two things that I can't quite align, but you're playing with my heart like it ain't mine.
And we came from this.
You a summertime fine, but you've been acting cold like the wintertime. Two things that I can't quite align, but you're playing with my heart like it ain't mine.
And that's how you make your vocals pop in the mix. I hope that's helpful to you. I want to give you something, though, to help you chew on this a bit more. I want you to not just focus on this one trick. This is really one part of a whole process of making your music sound amazing, right? Because that's the whole goal. You got a good song. Hopefully, you're recording it and you want to produce it and distribute it and put it on Spotify and it sound amazing like everything else you're hearing. Well, there is a process. What we did today is one little mini part of one step in a 6-step process to song creation. There's literally 6 steps that every song goes through. And so I've like tried to study every song I've ever heard that I've ever loved and every song I've ever worked on and been in studios and distill what is the song creation process. I distilled it down into the 6 steps that every song's got to go through to go from idea to sounding amazing. And I've written it all together in a step-by-step guide you can follow called my 6 Steps to a Radio Ready Song Guide. What we're doing here is part of one of the steps, which is mixing, and that's step 5. There's actually 4 steps before you get to this stuff and a step afterwards, right? And so in this guide, I walk you through what the steps are, all 6 of them, best practices and tips and tricks for each step along the way. And it's really like a resource that's pretty quick to read, but it's more of like a checklist for you every time you sit down to come up with a song and produce it in your home studio. You can reference this guide, go boom, then boom, then boom, and you don't skip anything, you won't miss anything, and it'll ensure that your song has the best chance to sound radio ready. Even if it's not on the radio, it sounds like it could be on the radio in terms of its quality and its presentation. So I want to give that to you for free for hanging in there with me and watching this video today. Just go to radioreadyguide.com. Put the link below in the description, and it's here on the screen, radioreadyguide.com. Grab your free PDF download. Reference it, please. Actually read it, hold on to it, reference it every time you make music, whether you keep it on your phone or tablet or you print it out like you're old school like me. I don't care. As long as you read it and apply it to your music making, you will see a difference. I promise you. It's really, really easy, but you got to have it all there. And it's all put together for you in this guide at radioreadyguide.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you on another video real soon.